Hi, Alex here from Rebeloper.com, and in this final video of our in-app purchases episodes, I will show you some debugging techniques that you can use when or if your app gets rejected because of your in-app purchases. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, before we dive into the code and into some examples, I would like to give a shout out and a big thank you for the owner of SWIFTUI toolkit. He has added our playlist, our YouTube playlist to the README with Jerry Davidson. Here we are, Rebeloper Ultimate In-App Purchases Guide. So whenever a user wants to test out how SWIFTUI toolkit implementation works, he or she can take a look at our videos. Good stuff. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get started and take a look at some examples how you can debug your in-app purchases. Of course, without saying that you need to test your in-app purchases on a real device, and you need to make sure that you have set up and copied and pasted your in-app purchase IDs correctly from iTunes Connect to your Xcode project. We are going to talk about some other stuff. So let's go to iTunes Connect, and we have left off in our awesome in-app purchase project. Well, we have our app here, and if we go to our features, as you can see, we have 7 in-app purchases and they are all ready to submit. Now, if your app gets rejected because in-app purchases, then all of your in-app purchases will be rejected too, and you will see a status of waiting for developer action or something like that. It's about developers. So what I usually do to make it ready to submit again is I just simply go into the in-app purchase and change the description. I usually, if I have a dot here in the description, I just delete it, and if I don't, I just add a new dot there. Now, while we are here, let me just make sure that you have a screenshot available, because then you will have some missing metadata, of course, here, and you could submit your app to the for review, but if you have missing metadata, your app will be rejected, because and the Apple review team will not tell you that, okay, go down there and you just add your review information screenshots. They will not tell you that. You need to make sure that your in-app purchases are ready to submit, and for that you need to add all of the required elements for our in-app purchases, and that is a screenshot and of course our subscription display name, a description, everything that you have added in your lessons that I have taught you earlier. And of course, make sure, because in lessons we have added a default screenshot, make sure it is the actual screenshot of your shop that displays the in-app purchase button of the specific in-app purchase, of course. Now, let's go forward and let's see some other issues that might occur when you get this error. Now, one thing is that you need to have your agreements, tax and banking set up and ready. Now, what I mean by that is that you need to have an agreement, a contract, a paid applications contract in effect. Now, we do have a paid application here, but we need to select an amendment here, and I will just request it now. If you don't have this request amendments, okay, then make sure that under master agreements, contracts in effect, the paid applications, you don't have here a download, then you should tap or click on the request button and request the paid applications contract. And after you do that, make sure that under the contract info, contact info, bank info and tax info, you provide the necessary information, okay? And of course, if you do have a request amendments, then request them. Okay, I will not go through them now because it's personal information, but make sure you have everything set up in agreements, tax and banking. Now let's just go back to our apps and let's see what else could go wrong. Okay, now of course one thing that could go wrong is that you accidentally add a space or a new row inside your in Xcode when you copy and paste your in-app purchases. Now that can be easily avoided, and let's go there and let's see in our view controller, make sure that you have the exact same in-app purchases. And of course this is not a big rule, but you should use a reverse domain name kind of string for your in-app purchase IDs. com.redeveloper, that is your company name or your developer name, and your awesome in-app purchases, that is your app name, and your consumable one, that is your in-app purchase description name. Okay, of course you can, if you do have auto renewables or non-renewable subscriptions, make sure that you implement the shared secret. Okay, and what else? This kind of happened 1 or 2 months ago, that SWIFTUI StoreKit, the module, cannot be found, cannot load underlying module Swift. Well, if you just simply build and run, then Xcode will find it. Let me just talk a little bit about promoted in-app purchases, because let me just select one in-app purchase here, and if you just scroll down, then you have an App Store promotion section that is optional, and here you can add your 1024 by 1024 pixel promotional image. And if you do that, you have to make sure your app supports the SK payment transaction observer method. Let me just go ahead and click that, and that is this payment queue should add store payment for product. Now this is already implemented in the SWIFTUI StoreKit framework, and let me just scroll back up here and let's just find this. Here it is. So SWIFTUI StoreKit should add store payment handler, and let's just copy this out and let's go to the app delegate, and before the return let's just add this here and let's return true, because the content can be delivered by our app. Okay, if you want to go even deeper and you want to omit the SWIFTUI StoreKit should add store payment handler, then you just jump to definition, and if you just take a look at here and scroll down, here you have in a purchase, just find this, let's just jump to definition. Yes, here it is. Payment queue should add store payment for product, and we return what we have returned in our SWIFTUI StoreKit specific method. So you could just simply copy and paste this function out and return true for it. Okay, of course this needs to be added in before the return true in the application did finish launching with options. Now this is all you need to add to your code to make your in-app purchases promotional, and of course you need to set them up inside your iTunes Connect app. Now most of the developers forget to add their in-app purchases to their app on iTunes Connect. So here's what you need to do. So go ahead and click on the App Store, prepare for submission. Let's wait for it to load. Okay, now let's just scroll down, and where you see in-app purchases, you must add your in-app purchases here. So go ahead and click on the plus button and select your eligible in-app purchases. For me, I have selected all of them. Let's click on done, and of course you have to hit save. Okay, that is all you need to do, and it is a very quite important step to add your in-app purchases, because Otherwise, the review team will not found your in-app purchases in your app. I believe that is all you need to check if your in-app purchases work. Of course, you do need to test all of your in-app purchases with a real device. Okay, just plug it in and test it out on a real device. And of course, if you just simply can't find the reason, then just go ahead and reach out to Apple review team and ask them why couldn't they, or what did they find when they wanted to purchase your in-app purchases and couldn't. Now, that's a wrap for in-app purchases. I hope you enjoyed this playlist, this whole series of implementing in-app purchases with SWIFTUI StoreKit. Once again, these in-app purchases were made with SWIFTUI StoreKit, and you can find that at GitHub repository, and go ahead and give it a star and maybe fork it or watch it. And as usual, go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to our channel to see more videos of me, share it with your friends, and I will see you in the next one.